The Norwegian Lundehund. This isn't just a flexible dog. It's built like something engineered for a very specific mission. Its neck can bend so far back it can touch its own spine, and its shoulders are so mobile it can stretch its front legs straight out to the sides. It even has ears that can fold shut, sealing out dirt and water when it squeezes into tight spaces. And those 6 toes on each foot? They're not random. They act like extra grip points, giving it stability on wet, narrow cliffs where most animals would slip instantly. But the real reason it exists is even more unusual. This dog was bred to hunt puffins along steep Norwegian coastlines, climbing rock faces and crawling into small burrows to pull birds out alive. It doesn't just rely on speed, it relies on balance, precision, and problem solving. Even its body shape is lightweight and compact, making it easier to maneuver in places where one wrong step means a fall. It's not just a rare breed. It's a specialist, designed for a job so specific that almost no other dog on Earth could replace it. The Azawakh. At first glance, it looks almost too thin to survive, but that's exactly what makes it so effective. Its body is built for extreme heat, with long legs, a deep chest, and barely any fat to trap warmth. You can often see its ribs and hip bones, which isn't a sign of weakness. It's an adaptation that allows it to stay fast and efficient in temperatures that would exhaust most animals within minutes. In the open desert, where there's nowhere to hide and no second chances, this dog relies on pure endurance and sharp vision to track and chase prey across vast distances. But it's not just a runner, it's also a guardian. The Azawakh has been used for centuries by nomadic tribes in the Sahel region to protect camps and livestock, forming strong bonds with its people while remaining naturally wary of strangers. Unlike many hunting dogs, it doesn't just chase, it makes decisions, often working independently in harsh conditions where humans can't intervene. It can sprint at high speeds when needed, but what really sets it apart is how long it can keep going without breaking down, turning survival itself into a kind of design. The New Guinea Singing Dog doesn't bark the way others do. It produces a rising, shifting sound that can change pitch mid-call, almost like a yodel. Each howl is slightly different, and when multiple dogs vocalize together, it creates a layered, echoing chorus that feels more like something from the wild than anything domesticated. It's not just communication, it's one of the most unusual vocal systems found in any canine. What makes it even more fascinating is how little it has changed. For a long time, this dog was thought to be nearly extinct in the wild, surviving mostly in captivity. But later discoveries showed small populations still living in the remote highlands of New Guinea, isolated from the outside world. Because of that isolation, it has retained traits closer to early dogs: exceptional climbing ability, extreme agility, and a cautious, almost fox-like behavior. It doesn't act like a typical pet. It moves, sounds, and reacts like something much closer to where dogs originally began. The Karelian Bear Dog was bred to confront one of the most dangerous animals in the wild: bears. This fearless breed comes from the forests of Finland, where hunters needed a dog bold enough to track massive predators and hold their ground without backing down. It moves quickly, barks aggressively, and pressures the bear by constantly staying in motion, distracting it long enough for hunters to react. Most animals instinctively avoid that kind of danger, but this dog was selected generation after generation for the willingness to face what others would flee from. That courage is still valuable today. In some areas, Karelian bear dogs are used by wildlife officers to scare bears away from towns and campsites without harming them. Instead of killing the predator, the dog teaches it to stay away by creating a stressful encounter the bear remembers. It's fast enough to evade attack, intelligent enough to read the bear's movements, and relentless enough to keep the pressure on. What makes this breed remarkable isn't just strength, it's controlled bravery, the ability to confront something far more powerful and refuse to retreat. The Bergamasco Sheepdog develops a coat that naturally forms thick, layered mats over time. These cords aren't styled or braided, they form on their own, combining 3 different types of hair into dense, felt-like strands. As the dog matures, the coat becomes a full-body shield that helps regulate temperature, keeping it warm in cold conditions and surprisingly cool under the sun. But the coat isn't just about weather, it's protection. Historically used in the Italian Alps to guard and herd sheep, this dog often faced rough terrain and potential predators. The thick cords act like padding, reducing the impact of bites or scratches and shielding the skin underneath. Even more interesting, the coat requires less frequent brushing than you'd expect once it's fully formed, because the mats stay intact rather than tangling randomly. What looks unusual at first glance is actually a highly functional system, less like fur and more like natural armor built over time. The Otterhound is now one of the rarest dog breeds on Earth, with only a few hundred left. It was originally bred in England for a very specific purpose: hunting otters in rivers and wetlands. Everything about it reflects that job: a powerful nose capable of tracking scent over water, webbed feet for swimming, and a rough, waterproof coat that protects it in cold conditions. It's not just a land tracker, it's one of the few dogs built to follow a trail through water for long distances. But when otter hunting was banned, the breed lost its purpose almost overnight. Without demand, its population declined sharply, and today it survives mainly through dedicated conservation breeding. What makes the Otterhound remarkable isn't just its abilities, it's how close it came to disappearing entirely. A dog once essential to human activity is now fighting to remain part of the world at all, a reminder that some breeds don't fade because they're weak. They fade because they're no longer needed. The Moody is a medium-sized herding dog from Hungary that doesn't immediately look extraordinary, but its ability becomes clear the moment it starts working. It was developed to control stubborn livestock in open fields, where animals scatter quickly and unpredictably. The Moody relies on sharp acceleration, instant direction changes, and precise positioning rather than force. It can shift angles in an instant, cutting off movement paths and guiding herds almost like it's mapping the situation in real time. What makes it especially distinctive is its independence. The Moody doesn't always wait for commands. It often makes decisions on its own while working at distance, adjusting its strategy based on how animals respond. This gives it a level of autonomy that feels more like coordination than obedience. Despite this capability, it remains relatively rare outside Hungary, staying closely tied to the environment and work it was originally designed for. The Thai Ridgeback is one of those dogs that feels like it was preserved from a different era. At first glance, it looks lean, athletic, and almost primitive in build, but the most distinctive feature runs along its back, a strip of hair growing in the opposite direction from the rest of the coat, forming a natural ridge. This isn't cosmetic. It's a genetic trait shared by only a few breeds in the world. Historically, it developed in isolation in Thailand, where it was used for hunting and guarding in rural environments, often relying on speed, agility, and sharp instincts rather than human direction. What sets it apart isn't just appearance, but temperament. The Thai Ridgeback is highly independent and naturally cautious, often thinking through situations rather than reacting immediately. It can be protective, territorial, and extremely alert, making it effective as both a hunter and a guard dog in environments where survival depended on awareness and self-reliance. Because it developed with limited crossbreeding for centuries, it still carries many traits closer to landrace dogs than modern standardized breeds, giving it a raw, almost untouched quality compared to more widely bred dogs.